In the tales of education folklore, there's a story of a teacher who wanted to illustrate how we find joy. The teacher had every student in the school write their names on inflated balloons. The teacher then took the hundreds of balloons, placed them in the main hallway of the school, and instructed the students to find their own balloon. Not a single student could accomplish the assignment in time. Then the teacher told them to take the balloon closest to them and give it to the person whose name was on it. In less than 2 minutes, everyone was holding their own balloon. Now the teacher said to the students, "These balloons are like joy. We won't find it when we're only searching for our own. But if we care about someone else's joy, we will ultimately find our own." A story that good just has to be true, don't you agree? But I think this is a great picture of the humble servant mindset of Christ that we see in Philippians 2. The Apostle Paul pens these powerful words. He says this, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus." We don't find joy by seeking our own good, but rather in humbling ourselves, suspending our preferences, and sincerely desiring the needs and interests of others. For this is what Christ our King has done for us by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. You see, it's often thought that humility is about having a low view of yourself, but this is actually just an inverted version of pride, because the focus is still on ourselves. The person who says, "I am nothing," and the person who says, "I am amazing," are both at the center of their thinking. True humility is not about having a low view of yourself, but rather having no view of yourself. In other words, true humility is found when we are freed from thinking of ourselves because we are busy thinking of others. Listen to how C.S. Lewis describes humility. He says, "Do not imagine that if you meet a really humble man, he will be what most people call humble, always telling you that he is nobody. All you will think about him is that he seemed to be a cheerful, intelligent chap who took a real interest in what you said to him. He will not be thinking about humility. He will not be thinking about himself at all." Now, one of the ways I believe that we can grow in joy together, in humbly seeking the joy of others, is through prayer. Prayer is a powerful and formational practice that allows us to fully lean into the humble servant heart and mindset of Jesus. While there is clearly good reason for us to bring our own needs and requests to the Lord in prayer, we must not neglect the importance of praying with and praying for others as we seek to grow in Christ-like humility and joy together. Prayers are like meals. Sometimes it's good and appropriate to prepare our own and enjoy them by ourselves. But the real joy comes when the meal and the prayer is prepared and shared with others. What kind of impact would happen in the lives of those that we know if all of our prayers were answered by God this week? Let us humbly and joyfully lift one another up in prayer. And as we do, may the joy of Jesus, our humble servant King, who endured the cross for us, compel us to find our joy in others.